Hey, IDS 302, summer session A for end of module one. Back again. Is this distracting? Sorry, how about if I go like that? Better? No? Sorry about that. Bad angle. I got to fix that next time. Okay, hope you guys have gotten off to a good start. It looks like most people have, and that's great. I think there's only about three or four that have missed out on starting for some reason. I always think the summer course is more dedicated because it just seems like it's you got to do extra. It's kind of extra, summer. So I usually have good success with summer students. Having said that, thank you for sending me the Easter eggs. I appreciate the comments, and hopefully I'll minimize the ums. Oh, no, that was from last class, not you guys. Trying to take care of that. Okay, so I've got a lot to talk about, fortunately or unfortunately, but let's get started here. Reviewing again what was due so far in Module 1, we've had the Academic Integrity Agreement, of which all but 4 have done. The instructor video one, two, three, four, all but 5 have done. And 1, 2, 3, 4 people have not taken the syllabus quiz. And it looks like you guys are getting a great start on the musical introduction. Remember to link your song. I think it's so funny. For 3 years, I've been watching this evolution towards me not recognizing a single song that anybody posts unless, their dad or their parents or their, God forbid, grandfather used to play it. And then I'm like, yeah, I know that one. All right. So whatever you need to do, don't do it for me to know it. Okay. So in terms of the learning materials, though, looking at, for example, Meath, well, let's look at the disciplinary pyramid again first. Hopefully you reviewed that because it's important to know those intra-disciplinary on the bottom. What is that? One single discipline. Cross-disciplinary, what is that? Looking through one discipline through another to analyze an artifact or issue. Um, Multidisciplinary next, 2 disciplines, or at least 2, minimum of 2. Interdisciplinary, that's us, different multi, but it's integrative, okay? And then transdisciplinary goes beyond the disciplines and it's usually problem-centered, including stakeholders, things like that. The diagram itself, it showed, this one here I'm talking about. I know it's not clear and you're getting a reflection off my window there, but you can see how intradisciplinary is just one, cross goes through one to another, multi is just a 3, interdisciplinary like that, and then transdisciplinary. The disciplines kind of circle that issue, okay? If there's anybody that has any issues with, getting it, let me know, okay? Because it's a really important concept, not just because it's on the quiz, but it's something you should know as an academic, especially in this field. Okay. In terms of Meath, it's the one-page article, and there goes my plug. It's a one-page article that basically goes into the definitions of what we just looked at. Okay, so it explains what these different levels of disciplinary ideas are, and this is way back from the 70s, I believe. But that's also a good quick read. Great, because again, it's foundational. You may have done it in 301. It's good to review. It's good to keep going. Like I said, I read this book every class, and you keep up with it, right? Okay, you don't just learn and that's it. In terms of the paper by Dr. McCormick, Writing and Thinking Interdisciplinarily, I think it's really interesting what he talks about here, and you should read this. It's a very easy 2-page double line spaced read. There's not much here, but it is very interesting in terms of your foundation again. Oh, sorry. Had a good night's sleep. Okay, so looking at that. Now, let's talk about looking at Tanner, what you guys did, right? The intro 1 and 2. So I made some highlights. Okay, I just did some highlighting, things like that in here to mention. And I want to call to your attention because it's on a quiz, what have you. It helps you to write better as an interdisciplinarian, helps you better on critical thinking. But the way the book starts in the introduction, integrative studies is a curricular approach to integrative learning and interdisciplinarity. Okay, self-explanatory, very important to know. Okay, down further, interdisciplinarity is an approach to solving complex problems from multiple perspectives. Okay, integration or integrative learning has a function within interdisciplinarity, but is also extended to mean an application of interdisciplinarity. Okay, so remember when I said IDS equals integration? Yes, I wanted you to get that in your as like a meme, as just something you could pick on really quick. Doesn't mean they're completely equal like that. It equals integration because, as I talked about, integration is more of the process of doing interdisciplinary studies, whereas interdisciplinary studies is an academic field, an area, right? Integration is something we do every day to function in our day. I got a gray hair. Somebody said that? Okay. All right. Then let's see. Multidisciplinary programs rather than interdisciplinary. They lack a focus on synthesis. Synthesis is another way of describing it. I prefer integration. Synthesis is another way. It mentions concentrations. You all should have 2 concentrations. There are exceptions where someone has 1, I think, but very rare. You should have 2. You should know what they are. You should be able to articulate them because you'll need to in assignments, right? Okay, so they're talking about multidisciplinary here and comparing it to interdisciplinary students. They're saying that multidisciplinary, like a double major, major minor, may have difficulty marketing themselves and their degree to potential employers because of a lack of deliberate connection. Deliberate connection. This deliberate connection, this intention, is really an important factor. And I want to emphasize it to you again, because as you go out into the world and move up in your career, start a career, become an entrepreneur, we all have to answer to someone, okay? Whether it's the bank, the boss, the significant other, whoever's paying for college, anyone, we answer to someone, it's part of who we are as humans. We interact, answer to our kids, we answer, and to be able to articulate what this is you're doing and why it's important is extremely important, right? Okay, so integrative education does not purport to integrate all possible connections. Read that again. Integrative education does not purport to integrate all possible connections. Rather, it is about making meaningful connections between intentional areas of study. Very important. It's about making meaningful connections, not just connections, meaningful connections. And between what? Not just between areas of study, but between intentional areas of study, okay? That means if you're discussing, sustainability, you probably are not going to bring any concepts of dance, the discipline of dance, into that. Okay, maybe you are, but you have to have an intentional area of study to connect, a meaningful connection. If you can find one, great. That's where you step up your game. And I use that term a lot in this course because I expect students to, at this point, you're on the inside now. It's time to step up your game. You're not on the sideline as observers to what's going on in academia, what's going on in the real world, what's going on in your chosen fields. You're on the inside. You have authority within your position and your identity, and you should endeavor to step up your game, okay? So what I do every semester in these courses, try to step up my game even better. It makes me feel better, usually comes out better for the students, right? Okay, moving on. Okay, interdisciplinarity is an approach to answering questions, solving problems, and addressing contemporary social issues from multiple perspectives. Interdisciplinarians combine 2 or more academic disciplines or fields of study. And, you can put on the evaluation right now, why is he rereading stuff that we just read? Well, I want to emphasize certain points. And let's face it, not everybody read it, okay? So, moving on. Okay, this is an important one. It's still in the introduction. The economy is changing in the United States. As a result, the characteristics of the workforce needed is also being modified. Employees are demanding different skills and knowledge from their college-educated workforce. College graduates will be expected to know more about more. They will be expected to have strong intellectual, transferable, and serviceable skills to maneuver challenging and global environments successfully. We all know that. Like I said, I mean, back in my day, nobody did business with other parts of the world. It just was very rare. It was set aside as a specialty type of thing. Now it's like nothing. It's like we got people in all different countries that we're going to be connecting with constantly, right? Okay, let's move on to chapter 1. Now, I noticed that he has these key terms here that he puts down, and I made a note because I questioned the integrative studies. He squeezed that one in there in the pyramid, and I guess he's saying interdisciplinary is, yes, it's the integration, and it's more of the academic field, and he's basically looking at integrative studies, I guess not as academic. Then if it wasn't academic, it wouldn't be studies. So I'm a little questioning on that. I think he likes integration and integrative concepts even more than me. And I think he's utilizing that to carve his own niche in this field, which is fine. Okay. The terms integrative and interdisciplinary studies refer to a particular approach of study. Remember that. That's us. Okay. And again, read this because it's important. It can be confusing to discuss both interdisciplinarity and integration in the same textbook, of course. Okay, in the relevant literature, the terms interdisciplinary and integration are sometimes used interchangeably, right? IES equals integration. But they are different. They mean different things. Okay, so remember that in your for your quiz. All right, so I question it. I'm not buying it 100%, but that's good. We're critical thinkers, right? He's really peeling apart integrative learning with interdisciplinary, and he's really emphasizing their different things. That's okay. It's fine. I'm just not sold 100% on it yet. Okay, but it is an important case to mention that interdisciplinary studies is the field you're in. It's a field that has specific protocols and different theories, different things it uses. But integration is a process and something we do on a regular basis. So you get the difference. Also, on this continuum of study, it's more like the pyramid and thing we're using, but he skipped over cross-disciplinary. He doesn't have it. He has disciplinary, then he goes to multidisciplinary, but he includes integrative. So I don't want to confuse you guys. Stick with, the one without integrative if possible. Okay, interdisciplinarians and integrative learners are valuable to our society. An interdisciplinary degree can be very valuable to you and some employers. Remember that. And I emphasize it again out of the book that just read because it's very important to understand that to stay confident in your field. Okay, many times, including myself, yes, I was in college in my 50s, so it really wasn't a lot to lose, by making a bad choice or a wrong choice, or maybe I could have chose better. And so a lot of students in this field question, what did I get into, I notice as they go along, usually that clears up. Trim my beard and I got hair sticking out. Sorry, that's just bothering me. Um, so as people go through the program, they find out, wow, this is great. This is perfect. I love this. This is excellent. Now that I kind of get it. Or they say, I probably should have just tried to stay straight in engineering or straight in the W.P. Carey business or some other degree. And that's fine too. Those things are going to be there. Nobody said you're done, right? You better be lifelong learners, right? So important. Disciplinarity. I want to talk about disciplines. A discipline is a field of study. Okay, it's a separate, we call them silos of learning. They have their borders, they have their walls. But again, I want to emphasize in this class, capitalize disciplines. When you use a discipline, capitalize it. So if you're talking to me about biology, it's a capital B. If you're talking about chemistry, a capital B. Okay? Economics, capital E, etc. You will get dinged for not doing it, so I think you should do it. And again, the reason is I want you to give disciplines the proper noun importance that they should have and be developing in your mind, that you are seeing things in terms of disciplines. Okay, so if we want to talk about the economy or economics or politics or political science, there's certain ways that we want to make them pronouns when we're talking about them as disciplines. rather than we're just saying, Reagan economics or this exact. It might not be might not be talking about in terms of a discipline as much as we are an ideology or a way of thinking. Okay, just understand the differences. Okay, um, but capitalize is important. Let's keep moving. Okay, you should be reading that, reading that. Um, okay, he's got things in here. We're fine. Okay, let's move to chapter 2. Some things in here. It's the history of interdisciplinarity. I'm giving you tips for the quiz. First quiz. Know who Plato, Aristotle, Kant, and Hegel are in terms of the text. You don't have to do any research outside of that. Um, think about Aristotle, one of Plato's students, what he believed in terms of defining the clear divisions of inquiry. Um, the quiz, by the way, is multiple choice or true and false, so don't too stress it. Okay, but Plato was perhaps the first to advocate philosophy as a unifying science, and to this day, philosophy is considered, the unifying science, the thing that looks at everything. All right. Leonardo da Vinci is big in this. Okay, he's considered a polymath. What's a polymath? Figure it out. Okay, you'll need to know. All right, then moving through, they talk about the association of interdisciplinary study. Here, philosophy is considered the branch of knowledge that brings all other knowledges together. Right. Chapter 3, theories of interdisciplinarity, integrative learning. 16 minutes. Okay. Um, they discuss several relevant learning theories in the book. Tanner does. One thing I want to be sure to clear up with you, all research, all theories, nothing proves anything. There is no proof, okay? Research will reveal trends, qualities, evidence, certain things, but you won't see real research say we just proved this. Okay? Very rarely would you do that. It would have to be a compilation of approval by peer reviews everywhere, and even then, proof is a word rarely used. You know why? Because it's an absolute. We should stay away from absolutes in this course, and probably whenever you're speaking or writing seriously, if colloquialism, oh, it never rains in Southern California. Oh, sun is always out in Phoenix. Always, never, those are absolutes. Of course, the sun isn't always out in Phoenix. It goes down every night, right? Plus, it rains here. It rains in Southern California, right? We know that from floods. Stay away from absolutes, okay? Use terms like shows evidence of, typically, tendency to do so. Those are type of things. We'll get into that more in writing. Look at these theories, the critical theory, okay, and structuralism, and then the systemic theories like complex system designs, ecological systems theory, experiential learning theory, okay, integrative learning. Now, again, you're not going to be all up in those theories that you got to memorize them or that you got to know. Introduce yourself to them. Get an idea of some context, okay? It's like me kind of saying, okay, there's a Kia Sonata, there's a Jeep Wrangler, there's a, whatever. And I'm saying they're cars, right? You don't have to learn every single car out there, but you need to know something about cars, right? So that might be a bad example, but you get me? Okay, so engaging in relevant coursework. This is going to be important for this course. Students should be able to consider topics as relevant to their lives. But I'm getting, okay, so the whole sentence is not only were students able to consider topics as relevant to their lives, but they were able to describe specific connections to their own experiences. This is important. Remember that integration, whether we discuss this term in the context of interdisciplinarity or learning, is about finding the connections between multiple perspectives, creating common ground, okay? All right, he talks about literature review. Big point. Professors cannot create all of these connections. This is why it's important. We're trying to teach you how to do this, what to look for, to know that it's there. But it is important that interdisciplinary students learn how to do this on their own, okay? So then there's this couple sections on encountering conflict, reconciling conflict. It's very important in terms of interdisciplinary research that you can recognize and you're going to deal with the conflict when you run into it. You're going to encounter conflict. Okay, you can count one discipline says one, that discipline will say that. and how do you reconcile that? Okay. And the interdisciplinary research approach talks a little about those things that we get into. Now we're talking about the steps. Repco's 10 steps, Klein's 10 steps. Julianne Klein has her 12 steps. Newell has 13 steps. Repco has 10 steps. We used to use Repcos all the time. But if you go through and read these steps, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities. Yes, they're used in different focus depending on what their the project is. But Tanner put together his own 5 steps. He narrowed it to 5. We're going with Tanner's 5 steps. You should be familiar with that. Not memorizing or anything, but you should be familiar with it. What it seems like, get a context, because that's what we're going to be following within a structure of research. Okay. Talk about common ground, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's it on the previous chapters. And I know I did not give you your Easter egg 1 yet. Oh my God, how long is this video going to be? That's what they're saying right now. Easter egg number 1, let's go with the Tanner model. The Tanner model, because I want you to introduce yourself to it. We're going to talk about it a lot, all right? So moving on, the rest of module 1. So you've got the pick one assignment. All right. I'd like you to look at every single one of those items I have linked and read them. The interview with Dr. Prisdia talks with a former student. I feel these things are engaging. He's talking to a student. He's talking to you, right? It's important stuff. It makes you learn about this field. That's what you're here for. I can lead you to water, can't make you drink, right? Okay, it's not busy work. It's important. The Association for Interdisciplinary Studies, that's a website. I belong to that. I pay $70 a year as faculty. It's a nice group, and that's a academic group that I belong to, that we belong to. The International Network for the Science of Team Science. Interesting. We have one of our faculty, Andy Hess, is I think going to be the president of that upcoming here, this coming year. But it's a whole another way of how interdisciplinary integrative thinking is working through the science of team science. Because remember, interdisciplinarity does not only mean just one person that has certain skills to integrate. It can also mean that there is different experts in different fields that come together as a team to integrate certain ideas, not just to do individual things on a specific project, but to actually to be a team. That's important, and you'll see that here. We skip down to number 5. Zimdar is the world of cross-functional teams. If you're part of a team, if it's part of your job and everything, it's very important to see that. You'll get some insights and maybe some aha moments that will help you in your environment. Barker, Gilbreth, and Stone, the interdisciplinary needs of organizations. Again, most of you are part of organizations. There are interdisciplinary needs of organizations. Self-explanatory. It's great. And then Newell, the state of the field, interdisciplinary theory. This is an article mentioned by Dr. Prisdia, and he talks about the field, state of the field, right? And then I want you to look at those, and I want you to pick one. Pick one that resonates with you. Pick one that you feel connected with, or maybe that open your eyes, give you an aha moment, or something that you think you have more interest in, and then I want you to write about it. Okay, I want to know why it stands out to you. Why does it resonate with you? How? Why? Whatever. How does it coincide with your values, professional, personal goals? Think as far outside the box as you like. Okay, remember to submit it in Word only. Double line spacing, paragraph indents, Times New Roman 12-point font. Paragraph, okay, you got this, right? It's a good test of the first time. It's worth 50 points. You got this, right? Okay, so that I think should do it for module 1 after you get 5 points I'm getting my money's worth out of you for this 5 points. It's kind of like going to a class twice a week though, right? You don't get points for that, do you? Unless it's attendance based. Okay, so that's 5 points. And guess what? That is going to be it for module 1. Let's go into, there is a page on looking at 401, right? Make sure you click that link and you look at IDS 401 to familiarize yourself if you haven't spoke to your advisor on that yet or anything. Very important to look at that. And do I have it here? Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, there it is, because it's there. Okay, it's before the discussion board. So hopefully you've looked into it. Okay, um, let's go with Easter egg number 2 right away, and that is look into 401. Look into 401. All right, now if you send me these, you don't have to extrapolate on it and write a whole bunch on it. You just give me the Easter egg. Okay, this one's look into 401. All right, so let me talk about again APA info. I'll get more into this as the important papers come up. But again, you don't have to do a cover page on anything until the final paper, okay? You need to do works cited lists, call it what you want, resources, bibliography, whenever you use something, okay? You need to do it in APA formatting style. Don't just guess, don't wing it. There's a way to do it, all right? Hanging paragraphs on that works cited list. If you don't know what that is, you need to let me know. You need to Google it, okay? Google everything, all right? So APA is going to be important. If you have a different style you want to use, you need to let me know beforehand. Don't wait till the end of the class. That's driving me nuts. And then go, and then just kind of say, oh, I wish he would let me do MLA or Chicago. Well, yeah, I will if you let me know. Boy, that's driving me nuts. Okay, I don't have anything to work up here. I plucked it all out. Okay, so you guys got a great start, guys and gals. The importance of staying on task, it can't be overstated. You've got it going on. All right. And so stay with it. We only have 6 weeks to do a 15-week class. The workload is not less. In fact, this is more work than my 15-week course did because I was still developing it. They had to listen to me a lot more though. Okay, so in module 2, we're going to start talking about your research topic. We're going to start figuring out what you're going to do, and I'm going to give you a bigger context of how this is going to look. Okay, yes, you're doing a research paper. Is it going to be about 20 pages? Heck yes. Could be 25, could be 15, but all right. But that is not intimidating you. You know why? Because you're going to do it through this whole course. You're going to keep building it. All right. And at the end, you're going to put it all together, do what you got to do. You can do this. And it should end up being something that you're going to want to keep in your portfolio of academic achievements and things that you can use as you go through your career and your life to refer to in terms of what you did, how you did it, and to show that you can do these types of things. Okay. So I want to talk about that next week. Hey, I'm going to post a link. I'm going to send an email to everybody. It's from a blog called Hey Julia at Plymouth University or some kind of New Hampshire, Plymouth, whatever that is. It's a great article that was posted on Twitter by one of my colleagues out there, and it was just posted December 11th. She talks about what interdisciplinarity had meant to her. And it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. But I think, again, my feeling is that interdisciplinary students especially could use some peer support, some camaraderie to know that, yeah, they're thinking the same thing I am, or they were, or that's how I was thinking. It's really a good for your state of mind and how you pursue this. And I'm going to send this out with the video, okay? Please take a look at it. I think here's a good line. IDS has pushed me like I never knew I could be pushed. Good article, okay? All right, so Easter egg number 3, keep it under a half hour, is going to be the aforementioned APA formatting. Easter egg number 3 is APA formatting. You guys guys and gals, I keep saying guys, have a great weekend. If I don't hear from you, let me know. I'm going to start digging through this thing. I know I usually use maps online, but it's fun to have this thing out. I'm going to take a long trip through southern Arizona next Tuesday just to get out of the house, right? Hope you're all healthy. Forks up. That's not the Easter egg. Peace.